All right, fifth grade, welcome to math for week 16. We have wrapped up our study of fractions that we've been studying for just about the past month and a half. And now today we're going to be jumping into a new unit of multiplication. Today we're going to be looking at some patterns in multiplication that we call shift patterns. And this goes along with the homework labeled 4.1 homework. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so to start off, you can use your multiplication chart for this week. As we continue this unit though, we are going to be putting the multiplication chart away. Let's start off with a basic math problem. 3 times 2. You won't need your multiplication chart for that. You can tell me 3 times 2 is 6. Good. You know that. Well, what if I look at that same idea? 30 times 2. You might say, that's not the same idea. Those are big different numbers. Well, keep that in mind. Let's look at 300 times 2. And now finally, let's take a look at 3,000 times 2. All right, guys. Here's what the pattern we're going to look at. Let me change color. You already told me that 3 times 2 is 6. Good. 3 times 2 is what? Still 6. But you know that 30 times 2 is not 6. That doesn't make sense. What I do is I shift the 0. Put the 0 at the end. 30 times 2 is 60. Okay? Notice we didn't need to do two-step multiplication to do that. Again, 3 times 2 is 6. Good. But you know that 300 times 2 isn't 6. That doesn't make sense. So I shift it over 2 places. 1, 2. 300 times 2 is 600. Let's do that one more time. 3 times 2 is 6. But I have these 3 zeros here, so I shift it over 3 zeros. 3,000 times 2 is 6,000. Let me change colors one more time so you can clearly see it. Notice the pattern. All of these problems started with 3. All of them were times 2. All of them had a 6 in the answer. The difference was how many zeros, okay? And we call that place value. So I'm shifting over the place value based on how many zeros were in the problem. 1 0, shifted over 1. 2 zeros, shifted over twice. 3 zeros, shifted over 3 times. All right, guys, let's take a look at this in one more way. All right, let's take a look at another basic problem. Let's say we've got 4 times 3. Okay? 4 times 3 is going to get you 12. That's not hard. What about 40 times 3? What about 40 times 30? What about 400 times 3? What about 400 times 30. And finally, what about 400 times 300? You might be getting scared and looking at those big numbers and saying, hey, 400 times 300, that's a pretty big number. Don't reach for a calculator though, you don't need it. We just need the shift pattern. Okay, let's take a look. We already know that 4 times 3 is 12. That's what we call a basic math fact, something you've learned. So what's 4 times 3? It's 12. Okay, and now I shifted over one place because I've got this 0 here. 1 0, I get 120. Let's do that again. 4 times 3 is 12. How many zeros are in the problem? 2. So I shifted over 2 places. I have 1200, or you could say 1200. Again, 4 times 3 is still 12. How many zeros are in the problem? 1, 2. 2 places, 1200 or 1200. Do you notice how I got the same answer? 40 times 30 is the same thing as 400 times 3. It's kind of fun how multiplication works out that way. Again, 4 times 3 is 12. How many zeros? 1, 2, 3. Put 3 zeros at the end. I shifted it over 3 places. I now have 12,000. Finally, 4 times 3 gets me 12. How many zeros am I shifting it over? 1, 2, 3, 4. Put 4 zeros at the end. Put your comma after the third one. I now have 120,000. All right, guys, so you notice the pattern. Each problem had a 4 and a 3 in the problem. You notice that all across all of these math problems. Each answer had a 12 in the answer. The only thing that changed was how many zeros. Where did I get those zeros from? From the problem itself. Tells me how many zeros are in my answer. All right, put that into practice today on 4.1 homework.